All right, welcome to the Engage Business Connect. And today we have Michelle Teague, who is going to be speaking about communicating with difficult people. So I am going to just hand it on to you, and you can go ahead and share, and then we can have a quick little discussion, okay? Or however you want to operate. If you like to kind of have the conversation going as you're speaking, that's fine too. But we've got till 10, so go
Cool.
ahead.
All right. Well, welcome, ladies. I'm excited to be here. I think it's great that your chapter is hosting these and opening it up to all the dots that are out there. So this is a great idea. When I got together with Rachel and earlier with Stephanie, we were talking about different topics. And one of the topics that I talk on is communicating with difficult people. And this is a great topic because we all have difficult people in our lives. It does not matter if you own your own business or you work for somebody else. It doesn't matter even if you're working or not, because the difficult people are all there. And for some of you, you're just like, oh, I know exactly who she's talking about. Uh, and so we're going to talk a little bit about those difficult people. We're going to talk about what makes them so difficult. And we're also going to talk about some things that we can do so that they won't be so difficult for us, because that's the end goal. We don't want, we don't need that in our lives. We don't need all that negativity in our lives. The reality is we want, a positive outlook on life. So we need to make sure that happens. So for that to happen, we need to understand why they're so difficult. And most times, now I'm not going to tell you 100% of the time, but I will tell you most of the time, the reason why they are so difficult for us is because they either want something and we don't know what it is. They're not very clear on what it is, or we want something and they're not giving it to us. So and what happens is, what I found is the way that we're communicating with them, the message isn't being received very clearly. And because of that, there's a lot of conflict that pops up in the dynamics and in the relationship. And so you've got a handout. And at the top of your handout, it talks about, communicating with difficult people and identifying your style and other people's styles. And the reality is, one of the reasons why these people are so difficult is because they communicate differently from you. If they communicated exactly the same way as you, they probably wouldn't be as difficult as they are. They'd probably be a whole lot easier for you to get along with and for you to communicate with. So we're going to talk a little bit about how people communicate, the different styles, the different preferences that people have, and what causes this difficulty and this conflict. So at the top of the page, you see that little infographic that has 4 different styles of communication. This is based on DISC. I'm a DISC consultant. I use DISC a lot for the communications and the leadership training that I do. And DISC can explain a lot why people are difficult in our lives. So that's why you see this here. How many of you have ever heard of the golden rule? Golden rule. Okay. Golden rule people. Yeah. Jess, what's the golden rule?
It's the kind of adage of treat people how you would want to be treated. And then I also heard of the platinum rule, which is treat people how they would want to be treated. And I might have just stolen your thunder.
No, you're good. The platinum rule is indeed treat people the way they want to be treated. Dr. Tony Alexander wrote a book called The Platinum Rule many years ago. It is a good book. And in it, he explains that a lot of these difficult people are, they got different communication styles. And if you can understand how to communicate with them and communicate in that particular style, they're not going to be so difficult. And that's the reason why you see this at the top with the 4 different communication styles, is because once we can figure out how they're communicating and what they need, we can give that to them. So that way they're not so difficult. Because the reality is they're not going to change for you, are they? No, they haven't yet. And I can just about guarantee you today's not the day. So that means we need to make some type of change. So that way they're not going to be so difficult. So if you look at the infographic, like I said, 4 different styles. The first one is the upper right-hand corner. And basically, when you're determining somebody's style, you're answering 2 different questions. Okay, the first question is this person more reserved or more outgoing? Okay, that's the first question we ask, is are they more reserved or more outgoing? The second question we ask is, are they more people focused or are they more task focused? Okay, and so I'll give you examples here in just a second. When it comes to the reserved versus outgoing, fairly easy. Are they somebody who wants to fade into the background? Are they somebody who doesn't want the spotlight on them? Are they somebody who they're not the center of attention? Those are the reserved people. The outgoing people, perfectly fine getting up and speaking in front of a group. Perfect. They're usually the in the center of attention. They're perfectly happy being around large groups of people, that sometimes they get energized from that. They're okay with a lot going on around them. They're okay with leading people in those types of situations. And sometimes they're the life of the party. They're okay with that. That's the more outgoing types of people. Okay. The task versus the people focused. Task focused, they're going to be the ones who have that checklist. They're going to be the ones who have the list of things to do. They're going to be the ones who have policies and procedures for doing anything and everything. Okay, because they focus on the task at hand. People focused, on the other hand, they're not necessarily focused on how things get done. They're more focused on the people who are going to be doing it. They're more focused on the people around them. They're much more in tune with who as opposed to what. Okay, so these are the differences. So like I said, the 2 questions are, is the person more reserved or outgoing? Is the person more task focused or people focused? All right. So knowing those 2 questions, the first group that we're going to talk about are the Ds. The Ds are the very dominant. They are they are driven. They like to get things done. They are very decisive. Ds are outgoing and task focused. Okay, so that's the answer to the 2 questions for Ds, is they are outgoing, they are task focused. Ds, literally at the end of the day, they'll look at their list of things to do, and as they're crossing it off, if something pops into their mind, oh, I did this, they'll add it to the list so they can cross it back off. Okay. All right. So these are Ds, okay? They, like I said, they're very outgoing and they're very task focused. They want things short and to the point. They want you to get to the point. They don't want you to ramble. They don't want you to take forever. Okay, they don't need a whole lot of details. Also, they're very decisive, and they want you to be decisive. Okay, one of the reasons why they may be difficult for you is because if you can't make your mind up instantly, they're going to be like, what's wrong with you? Okay, so those are the Ds out there. All right. Next group are Is. And Is are going to be outgoing, however, they are people focused. Okay, Is tend to be very inspiring. Is tend to be very creative. Is are social butterflies who love to get involved. Eyes love parties. Eyes love events. Eyes love large groups of people gathering, because it gives Eyes an opportunity to shine. They like to get appreciated, and they love to be told that what they're doing is good, not only for them, but for others, that others are enjoying what they're doing. And so I's are perfectly happy taking the lead and going out there and doing things. And I's are perfectly happy being the person up on the stage. There's a lot of artists, there's a lot of actors and actresses that tend to be I's, because that's what they like. The thing about I's though is they're not very detail oriented, and though they have great ideas because they're very creative, um, but they don't quite remember all of it because they move on to the next big idea quickly. And so if you ever want if an I tells you, "Oh yeah, I'll do that for you," you need to remind them over and over again because they won't remember. And they got too many squirrels running around in their head. They've got, and they don't focus really well. Great person to be around, lots of fun, but not real good when it comes to staying focused, which can be so difficult for a lot of people out there because you're just like, focus, pay attention. They can't do that. Okay, so those are the I's. The S's are going to be people focused, but they're going to be more reserved. They don't want to stand out from the crowd like the I's do. They want to be, there in the background. S's are very steady. They're very sincere. S's are team oriented. S's want to make sure that everybody gets along. They want what's best for the group. They want what's best for everybody. S's tend to be very empathetic. And S's, like I said, they're reserved and people focused. They get concerned when there's conflict going on because S's don't like conflict. And what'll happen is to avoid conflict, a lot of times they'll agree to stuff when they really don't want to agree to stuff. But they don't want to rock the boat. And there's a lot of people out there that are S's. You'll find that there's a lot of people out there who are yes people who are S's, and it's because they don't like the conflict. And great people though. They love to build up relationships. They love one-on-one. Dots are perfect for S's because they want the one-on-one connection. They want to build up that relationship. They want to get to know people better, and they want what's best for other people. So they're wonderful people. Like I said, they just don't like the conflict that happens, and as a result, they can dig a big hole fast because they won't say no and they won't push and they don't set boundaries real well. Okay, so those are the S's. The last group are the C's, and C's are very reserved and they're task oriented. So these are going to be people who are very compliant. They are very conscientious. They are very detail oriented. They are going to dot every I and cross every T. They are going to make sure that everything gets done right. Okay, I told you D's want to get things done. C's have to make sure it's done right. And to them, there is a right and a wrong way. And more than likely, their way is the right way. Okay. So with C's, they're highly detail oriented. C's are the ones who will make rules if there aren't rules already because they want to make sure they're doing things right. And with C's, C's and S's both have a very difficult time making decisions. And with S's, it's because they want to make sure everybody's going to be happy with the decision that they're making. C's, on the other hand, they want to make sure it's the right decision. So C's are usually asking you for more information. And they're constantly wanting to gather more information and more details because they want to make sure that what they're doing is the right thing. And that can take a lot of time. And that can be difficult when you have people who need an answer or they need a decision right away. C's are not going to give you the short answer. C's are going to give you the very long and involved answer. And when you're communicating with them, it's actually best to send them an email that has anything and everything in it, because that way they've already got, and they won't ask you as many questions if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got these 4 styles. If you look on the second page of your handout, you're going to see that I have on there 3 different types of difficult people that you may find in your life. Okay, so the first type of person is a complainer. Okay, this is somebody who either doesn't like change. One of their favorite phrases is, "We've always done it this way." Okay, this is somebody who um, complains that either we're doing it the wrong way, we can't do it that way, or I don't like how this is being done. These are people who like to complain. Um, you'll notice on your handout it says, you know, they don't like change, they need more information or details. A lot of the complainers are going to be C's, okay, because this is the way that it's always been done, and to them that's the right way, which means this is the way we always need to do it. So if you're an I, or if you're a D, and you're just like, I don't care that that's the way that we've always done it, especially I's, they're just like, yeah, but we could have someone, well, it could be so much better if we did it this way. Or, oh my gosh, look, here's something new. We should try the I's. They've got shiny object syndrome all the time. So, because they're constantly creative, they're constantly thinking of new things. And so they want to try new things. So if you're an I, you're butting heads with C's all the time. Because eyes aren't very detail oriented. It's very difficult for them to focus on any one thing for long periods of time, whereas C's are exactly the opposite. C's, they're very detail oriented. They stay in that focus, they're stayed in that zone, and they want things done exactly the same way every single time, now for forever. Okay, so we've got some butting of heads that happen here. All right. And so, like it says on there, sometimes we just need to acknowledge how people are feeling. Sometimes not necessarily that we're agreeing with them. There's a difference between acknowledging, you must be frustrated with this. It is very different from, I agree. Yes, we need to do it this way all the time. Okay. Very different. So we're going to acknowledge how they feel. We also need to explain how change can benefit others. Maybe, just maybe, there is a better way to do this. Maybe there's a more efficient way to do this. Maybe there's a way to do something that's going to save you money or save you time. And so maybe, just maybe, we need to try this and see, is this going to work out better for everybody? Okay. We also need to provide, especially if they're C's, we need to provide people with more details and provide them with information that they need. So that way it'll comfort them to know, okay, here's the rationale behind why we're making some changes. And here's some reasoning behind why we need to do things differently. Okay. So that's complainers. Second type of person who could be very difficult are know-it-alls. And know-it-alls, we've got them all in our lives. Know-it-alls, they truly need attention. Okay, they one of the reasons why they're always talking about what they know and what they've done and stuff like that is because they want to be the center of attention, or they need to be right and correct. They need to prove to you that they do know everything. They need to prove to you that they are always right. All right, so once again, we are going to listen and acknowledge. We're not necessarily going to agree, but we are going to acknowledge. Oh, thanks so much for sharing that with us, because part of what they want is they want the attention. So as soon as we start to acknowledge them, they're starting to get the attention that they need. If they are somebody who actually does know what they're talking about, and there are know-it-alls out there who actually do know it all, they just want people to recognize that they know it all. This is a good person to set up as a mentor, because that gives them an outlet for the information that they have. This is a good opportunity for them to share what they know with somebody else who truly needs to know this information. So anytime you can match them up with somebody who has similar interests or similar needs in what they know, do it, because this will be a good match for them. And all of a sudden you won't be hearing from them constantly about everything and anything that they know everything about. Okay. Also, ask them for their opinion. Okay. Sometimes the know-it-alls truly don't know it all. And what they are spouting out is just their opinion, not actual facts. So you can be the person who differentiates that by saying, what's your opinion about whatever the topic is? Okay. And then they can just go on and on and on. And in your mind, you're saying, all right, this is not fact, this is opinion. And so is everybody else who's hearing this conversation. Okay. Last but not least, when it comes to the know-it-alls, if you're having a discussion with them and you're wanting to go against some of the things that they're talking about, you truly need to be prepared and you need to have your facts, and they need to be indisputable. So you need to be able to back up what you are saying. So that way you've got the credibility and you've got the insight into that particular topic. Okay. Last type of person we're going to talk about are the yes people. And I told you there's a lot of S's that fall into this. Sometimes you'll have some I's that'll fall into this too. But yes people, generally they want to please everyone. They don't like conflict. And so as a result of that, they're going to say yes to just about any and every request, or they're just going to go along with the rest of the group because they don't want to make waves. So first and foremost, let yes people know that it's okay to say no, that it's all right. They're not going to hurt your feelings. You're not going to hate them for eternity. You're not going to get mad at them, that it's okay. And the reason why you're going to say that is because you're going to remind them that if they say yes, you're going to expect them to follow through with what they're doing. You're going to expect them to actually do what they say they're going to do. And remind them that they don't want to let you down. And so it's okay to tell me no. It's okay to tell me you don't have the bandwidth. It's okay to tell me you don't have the time, you don't have the energy. It's okay to tell me no. I understand. Somebody else out there can help me. It's all right. And so give them that opportunity to tell you no and let them know it's all right. Because if they do say yes, you're holding them accountable. Because a lot of times people don't hold them accountable and people don't hold their feet to the fire. And that's the reason why they keep saying yes over and over and over again. So let them know they truly do need to tell you either yes or no, and you will hold them accountable. All right, ladies. Those are the difficult people that we can have. Now, there are lots of other types of difficult people out there too. But like I said, a lot of times you can take a look at DISC and you can figure out what is their communication preferences, what do they need, so that I can give them what they need, so that way they're not so difficult in my life. Okay.
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anyone have any questions or comments, or feel free to just unmute if you do. I am going to stop recording if I can find the dang thing. Where did it go? There it is.